Welcome back to another exciting video in Microsoft Word. This video is going to be covering two topics. One is tabs and the second would be building blocks. Both are pretty straightforward things to do. Tabs and building blocks were covered in the PowerPoint that you guys should have already viewed. If you have not, you need to get on that. Tab stops is the first thing we're going to talk about. Is basically set on the horizontal ruler bar up here. So if your ruler is not showing right up here, you need to go to View and make sure there's a check mark in that ruler box right there. If there's not, you need to do that, so make sure that your ruler is set up. Okay, so that's the first thing. Next thing you're going to want to do is to set the tabs is notice where your tab button is. Tab button is over here on the left hand side. Alright, basically you can click that to set your tabs. Alright, if you notice as I'm clicking it's changing to depending on what kind of tab I want. Right now it is the default tab, which is set at left tab. Okay, there is the left tab, the center tab, the right tab, the decimal tab, and the bar tab. We're basically going to deal with the first four there: left, center, right, and decimal right now. Okay. And tabs are pretty easy to use. I'm going to set a couple of them. Let's do a left tab at 4 inches. So basically all I had to do was click at the 4-inch mark. I set a left one there. I'm going to set a center one at the 5-inch mark. And I'm going to set a right one. All I'm doing is clicking that little tab button there at the 6-inch mark. Alright, so you guys can see exactly how they all react. So if I tab over to the one on the 4-inch mark and type in Wilmington, basically it acts normal. It goes, as you type, it types from left to right, everything is fine. But if I hit enter and then tab twice, so it'll stop at the first tab stop, and I'm going to go again to the second tab stop, which is at the center one. So now I type, and you will notice, oops, as I misspell Wilmington, imagine that, I can't type today. You'll notice that it is centered on the tab stop, so it's right in the middle of the tab stop, which is kind of cool, so that way you don't have to worry about centering things. If I hit enter again, and on the third line I tab all the way over to my 6-inch mark, which is my right tab, and I type in Wilmington, it almost looks like it's typing backwards. So basically it'll start from your insertion point and type to the left instead of the right, which means you can go all the way up to that right margin and set a tab, and then it'll work backwards without that word going down to the next line. Okay, so that's pretty easy to set those tabs. The other kind of tab you have is called a decimal tab, which is kind of nice in that I'm going to set one here at the 2-inch mark. Well, let's do 2.5-inch. It's kind of nice because it'll line up all your numbers for you. So there's a 2.5-inch mark. So I'm just going to tab over once and I'll type, let's say 1235, hit enter, tab over again, 124587.32. No matter how big of a number I make, oops, I forgot to tab that one over. Golly Gilmer. Alright, no matter how big of a number I make, those decimal points are always going to be lined up. You'll see that right there. So they're all lined up at that 2.5-inch mark, which is kind of cool. Alright, so that way, that's how a lot of restaurants do their menus, so all the decimals are lined up and all the prices are lined up. The other thing you might see at a restaurant is what are called leaders on their menu. Okay, I am going to set, let's do this, we're going to set a tab, we're just going to do it at, say, the 3.5-inch mark. And what I'm going to do is, instead of single clicking, I'm going to double click. So basically it'll say tab stop position, and I'm going to choose my 3.5-inch mark right there. Okay, and I want to choose a leader. Leaders are down here on the bottom. It's a little dot right there. These are all called leaders, but I'm going to use the dot format. I'm also going to clear out my 2.5-inch mark, so it'll go straight to 3.5-inch. Okay, so now I have my 3.5-inch. I want to set my leader again. It's going to be a, we'll just do a left alignment there, and click OK. So now if, let's say, I'm at a restaurant, you can see what it's going to do. A hamburger is going to cost and there's those dots. Let's say 9.99. Okay, so those dots will show up now every time I hit tab, which is kind of nice. So if I want a taco, you hit tab and there's the dots. Okay, which is kind of cool. Again, that lines everything up for the restaurant, makes their menus look nice and tidy. Okay, but that's tabs in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please, please, please ask. All right, you can ask your neighbor, you can look in your book, you can look on Google, you can ask Mr. Meissen, however you want to do it, but make sure you ask, because tabs do help a lot with different things you're doing in Microsoft Word. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is quick parts or building blocks. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter a couple times here, and I'm going to type in Wilmington High School. School. All right, and now we're going to create what's called a building block here, and I'm going to select Wilmington High School. When you select it, make sure you do not select that paragraph mark, because if you select that paragraph mark, you're going to get an extra line in there which you don't want. Okay, so you select the text you want to be a building block. All right, and in this case it's Wilmington High School. You click insert, and I'm going to go over to quick parts. All right, and I already have one in there, which is fine. I'm going to click on that, and there it is, Wilmington High School. Now if I wanted to go edit it, basically I would go back to quick parts, right click, go to edit properties, and there it is. So I named it WHS, all lowercase. It doesn't matter, the case, it is not case sensitive. So there it is, WHS, the galleries and quick parts, general, all that stuff. You just click OK. And it'll ask me, do I want to redefine it? I click yes, and everything is fine. So now as I'm typing along, let's say school I work at is, and I can just put WHS down instead of typing the entire Wilmington High School, and then I hit F3, and of course it's not working. I think it is not working because of the video stuff I am doing. But basically if you hit F3 at that point, Wilmington High School should show up. There is some kind of technical glitch here because I just did it 5 minutes ago and it worked fine. So my guess is it's because the function keys are not working when it comes to the video software I'm using to capture this. So, but if you hit F3 at this point, Wilmington High School would normally show up, and it saves you time. So if you're going to be typing the same thing over and over again, that's why you would use a building block. Okay, but that's about it. That is tabs and building blocks in a nutshell. And hopefully you understand everything a little bit better, and if you don't, as I said before, go ahead and ask questions. Thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.